Hey everybody, this is Eric Chapelle, the South Jersey real estate guy working with Weichert Realtors in Cherry Hill. And some of you are getting ready to buy a home or possibly buying an investment home. And before you commit, let's talk about whether real estate is really worth it. So in this video, we'll cover three things. We're going to cover the pros and cons of real estate, market trends over the last 20 years, and whether it is or isn't a good time for you to be buying a house. So one of the pros of owning real estate is that every time you make a monthly mortgage payment, you are building equity in your property, and that equity turns into ownership. Also, we can talk about appreciation over time. The average annual U.S. home appraises about 3 to 5% higher year over year. So in the space of 10 years, you can increase the value of your home substantially, but also that increases some of the appreciation or money that you are building into your property as you pay your monthly payments. Also, there are tax benefits, mortgage interest deductions, depreciation if you're an investor. These are some of the pros that you can expect to have if you own your own property. Passive income, especially if you're doing rental properties. You'll have your mortgage payment, and I'm sure if you're a good landlord, you're going to be making extra money on top of just your regular mortgage as far as rental payments. That is just passive income, money that you can just roll into your assets each month and be able to use that as capital to build other projects. It's also an inflation hedge. Property values and rents typically rise with inflation. If inflation goes up, these typically rise as well. So you're kind of hedging your bets when you invest in property like this. Also, there's the pride of ownership. The fact that you kind of can say to yourself, man, I own something. That is a big pro. But as well as there are pros in owning property, there are cons to owning property. So you say, Eric, what are the cons? Well, I'm glad you asked. One of the cons is high upfront costs. High down payments that you got to put down on your property. If you're an investor buying a second property or a third property, usually that is up to 20%. Closing costs, another big upfront cost that most people don't even think about. These are monies that you have to pay to go to closing, to get all your escrows in line and all that. That is just cash coming out of your pocket to get yourself into your home. Inspections, other things like this also roll into play as part of your upfront costs of purchasing a home. Then let's not forget, there's always going to be maintenance and repairs. Most of the time, you're not buying a house that's 100% ready to go. There's things that you're going to want to change, things you're going to want to upgrade, things you may need to maintain. Those are extra costs, and that's a con in owning your own property. Liquidity. With most investments, you can turn your investments into cash pretty quickly, but with a home, it can take time. To pull out the assets or make your home liquid is not as easy as other investments. And so that could be harder than selling stocks or crypto, and that could be a con to some people. Market volatility. We all know about 2008 and the crash, and when the market went in the tank, people lost a lot of money on their property values. Anything can happen at any time. I do not allow things that have happened in the past to scare me from doing stuff in the future. However, I do try to learn from the mistakes of the past and not create the same problems for myself personally. And I'd encourage you to be the same way. But it is always a potential risk that the market could go bad. And with that, you might end up being upside down on your house for a little bit. Opportunity costs. Your money could be invested somewhere else. The money that you take out of savings to put into your upfront costs that we talked about could take away from putting it into other investments where you could be making maybe a larger portfolio gains. And that's a given thing. So that is part of the opportunity cost. You have to choose what you're investing in or diverse, have some real estate and others in stocks and bonds. But then there's also the responsibility to landlords. If you're going to buy a property as an investment and be renting it out, you've got that responsibility of maintaining the home, keeping it filled, keeping the money flowing so that you don't lose money. And sometimes that can be a problem. Not all tenants are good tenants. And with that being said, that becomes a major con. Now, if you look at the market trends over the last, let's say 25 years, the housing market has undergone some serious changes and pretty much scares a lot of people to death if they think about it. But if you were to go back to 2008, there was the big crash in the housing market. That wasn't because homes weren't worth anything. It's because the mortgages that were being distributed by the banks weren't worth the paper they were being written on. People could not pay for the very homes that they were told they could, and folks were getting mortgages on these 5-year adjustable rate mortgages and losing their homes, and the market got flooded with empty homes, and therefore the market crashed. And the truth is, it's during these times that people start questioning whether or not purchasing their home was a good idea. I have been buying and selling homes over the last 21 years. I have never lost money on a house, not once. But then again, I don't go out and buy the most expensive home in the area. I try to buy homes that are in the median range and that may need a little bit of work, but easily can be taken care of so that I can have some equity in my home in a short period of time. In 2020 to 2022, the market went nuts. So you go from 2008, when houses are being given away almost, to 2022, and from 2020 to 2022, you couldn't find a house anywhere. The prices of homes started to increase rapidly. I mean, absolutely astronomical, to the point where you would probably make almost 6 figures more than what you thought on your home. It wasn't uncommon for a person who thought they were going to make like 20 grand of equity in their home, finding out that their home would actually sell and bring in about $120,000 worth of equity. And so therefore the market was just raging. I mean, there wasn't enough homes to be sold to the people that wanted them. Then comes 2023, 2024, you start seeing a little bit of the breaking action in the market. Mostly because of interest rates. They went up from about 3.5% to 3.75% up to 7.5%. Now, as of today, the rates are right around the mid 6s, but people panicked because they couldn't afford the mortgages anymore. And they thought, well, at 3%, my payments would be reasonable and manageable, but now at 7%, it just puts it out of my price range. And so they started looking for homes that were less expensive to buy, and they got all eaten up really quick by investors, by other people who wanted to get into owning their own home. As of 2025, the market is kind of stabilized. I personally don't see huge growth over the next few years, and I don't see huge dips coming in the next few years. But I would tell people that are buying homes right now, it's really important for you to take your time and make a good decision, and don't look for your forever home right now. Look for a home that will be sufficient for maybe 5 to 7 years, because in that period of time, the markets will probably start to take off again. You'll be able to make more money on your property, have some equity to roll it into your next home. So now I want to talk to you about when real estate isn't worth it. So when you should not be thinking about buying a home. So here's the first thing. If you plan to move in the next 2 or 3 years, you probably shouldn't be buying a house right now. Wait until you make your move. Wait until you know exactly what your job situation is going to be like before you jump into buying a house. Save up some money. Get yourself ready for that time so that when you are more stable and you think you're going to be in a place for a longer period of time, you're ready then to start moving forward. If you can't comfortably afford the cost of owning a home, if you're really stretching for a way to make the mortgage fit into your budget, you probably should wait. Either that or look for less expensive homes. But if you are really pinched and you're really stretching yourself to make it happen, you probably shouldn't be trying to make it happen. Also, if the local market is oversaturated, in other words, there's so many homes on the market and nobody's buying, or if it's overpriced, when there's few homes on the market and people are asking like top dollar for the home, it's probably not the right time for you to be buying a house. If there's a bunch sitting around, you might get a good deal. But then again, if you have to sell your home quickly, it's going to take a long time for you to sell it. and you don't want to be paying $100,000 to $200,000 over market value on a home just because you want one, because you could end up in a really negative situation a few years down the road. So it's best, I would suggest, to hold off. Now, when it comes to investors, if you're not ready to manage your properties, then I would tell you hold off. Everybody wants to be a landlord. Everybody wants to have a rental. I've had rentals. I still have rentals, but it's not everything it's cracked up to be. There's always people, when they rent from you, do not love that home as much as you do. They're not going to take care of it the way you do. Rare is it to find a tenant who does everything right, pays for the problems they create, and fixes the house when they break stuff. They expect landlords to do all that. And so if you're not ready for that management, if you're not ready to get that call about the leaky toilet or the shower head that doesn't work, then it's probably not the best time for you to be buying an investment property. So you're probably saying, well then, when is a good time? Who should be buying a house right now? Well, people who are long-term homeowners, they should go ahead and try to buy a property. If you know you're going to be in a place for a long period of time, stop paying rent. Stop paying somebody's mortgage and a few extra bucks to put in their pocket, and use the money to buy yourself a home. It's going to help you build money. It's going to help build your assets, and it's going to build your net worth if you own your own property. First-time home buyers, if you have a stable income, the state of New Jersey has, some great programs that will help you as far as getting started. If you don't know about these, and if your real estate agent hasn't told you about these yet, man, you're missing something here. You could get up to $22,000 to help you with your down payment and getting started in buying your first home. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, call me. My contact information is in the descriptions below, but you need to reach out, talk to somebody who knows this program, knows these programs. I work with bankers who know about these programs and will help you get started and capitalize on it before they disappear. There's no guarantee how long we'll have them, so you might as well take advantage of them if you can. Also, if you're an investor looking for cash flow over appreciation, then buying a property might be good for you right now. It will definitely help you in that area. Those looking to diversify their portfolio, this is a good time for you to buy a house if you buy wisely. A few years ago, when things were going kind of nuts, my financial advisor said, you're putting way too much money in the stock markets and mutual funds. You need to diversify. You should think about buying property, and we started. I'm going to tell you, I have not regretted him telling us that. It wasn't the best time to be buying for most people, but for us, it was the right time. And God's been good. I'm not going to lie. Buying homes and selling properties has been something that's been a very big benefit for my wife and I. And so I would encourage you, if you're looking for that cash flow opportunity and maybe a little bit of appreciation as opposed to just appreciation, then right now is a great time for you to buy a house. So in conclusion of this video, real estate isn't guaranteed. There's no guaranteed win here. However, with the right strategy, the proper timing, it can be one of the smartest investments you'll ever make. And I'd encourage you, if you haven't bought a home yet, or if you're thinking about buying one, talk to somebody that you trust. Get a good real estate agent who knows what's going on in the market, and they will guide you. They'll help you. If they care about you at all, they will give you good advice and help you get started on the way. So can I encourage you, if you're thinking about buying a home or investing in real estate, drop a comment below. Let me get in touch with you, and let's collaborate. Let's try to figure out a way to help you get your new home. It could be one of the biggest benefits of your life if you just reach out and ask for some help. So again, this has been Eric Chapelle, the South Jersey Real Estate Guy. If you've liked this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And if you know somebody in the market right now, either looking to sell their home or buy a home, please share this video with them and get them in touch with me. I'd love to help them. Hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Can't wait to see you again next week. God bless.